What is up, EoP sports fans? It's Wednesday night. It's 9 o'clock. It's time for EoP. I'm Big Al.
I'm Freddy Birds.
And we're a little later tonight because there's a lot of things going on here at EoP. Phillies game was in the afternoon, ended a little later. Bill and Chet went a little longer because it was a big 10-year anniversary for those crazy guys over at Philly Press Box Radio, and just super proud of those guys and what they did and what they have done over the last 10 years.
I have to say, yeah, I wouldn't even be doing this if it wasn't for them too. They gave me a chance on their show, just to like be a fantasy football person and a person that would, talk about the draft sometimes or just randomly call and just talk about what I liked and loved about sports. And without that opportunity and probably fumbling through a lot of it, at that point you would call in. It was like a phone call. You would actually call in via phone. And that's how the show ran. And that's how, we didn't have all this stuff yet. And, without that opportunity, I would definitely not be doing what I'm doing now. So shout out to them and congratulations.
Yeah, no. And for anybody who's kind of either newer to EoP or, has just maybe in the last 6 months or so have come on, you see a lot of the shows on here, but you guys don't know that Philly Press Box Radio was one of the original ones to kind of join up with us here at EoP. And they've stuck around the whole time and grown with us, and we've grown with them. And a big part of that growth comes from the works of Bill and Chet. So just happy with them. And like, if you missed today's, the podcast is probably either up or going to be up shortly. But they had the great Ray Didinger on as well to celebrate 10 years. So how else you do it with the godfather of Eagles football coverage, Ray Didinger. So if you missed it, after we're done, you can go back and listen to it. It's all your podcasts. It's on YouTube, our websites, other social media. So check it out. And speaking of that great lineup, here it is right here. I don't know. If you can't find something to watch, you're not looking hard enough as far as I'm concerned. And, first week in the books for Trending in the AM here at EoP, and it has been phenomenal for any of those. I always say smash the dial, break the dial off. You don't need it anymore. You got Phil Stifled Trending in the AM here on EoP Sports. So it's been a great time working with him so far. And here we go. We're going to get to this in a second. Trade Maxey. Here we go, Marshawn. Trade Maxey. And Owen Tippett will be talked about next year. Okay. We'll get into that, I guess, a little bit too. But yeah, and other, with a lot of news going on here as well. And this week we officially announced Football Stories joining the EoP network, and their show will be played back on Thursdays, 5 to 7 p.m. here on EoP. So it will be great to have Al, Matt, Chris, and Rock as myself producing on there as well. So a lot of new things here at EoP. So keep your eyes peeled. There's more new things coming. And Fred is looking for something, but we'll get back to that.
I was looking. I have my Football Stories article paper that I picked up at Wawa today, and I don't know where I put it. And I didn't know you were going to say that on the show, so I was trying to pull it up. But Jason Kelsey's on it. Pick it up free every Wawa. Great
and the next article's coming out next article's coming out very shortly. It's free, like Freddie said. It's at 300 plus Wawas in the area, plus a few other areas. So, and it's a great article, and it's it's the official magazine of Brian Baldinger. So you get an article from Brian in there, Paul Domowitch, Dave Spadaro, and a lot of the guys that you just saw on the screen, such as Al, Matt, Chris, and Rock. And they do college football, high school football too. They were covering Hassan Reddick when he was still in high school, and Corey Clement when they were still in high school. So, they don't just cover any old guy. So it's check it out. Go to Football Stories and go to footballstories.com. And so they'll be making their official debut this Thursday, tomorrow afternoon, starting at 5 o'clock. So let's get into it, Fred. So apparently the Sixers are staying alive. So, I mean, in all honesty, I know probably the biggest Sixers fan in our crew, or close to it at least, putting the
you got the party on ball guys, dives. But I'm a big fan. I know, no doubt about it.
I'm talking about just the fan. I'm not saying even just knowledgeable. Yeah, was part of you shocked how this went down?
Repeat that.
Were you shocked that they were able to survive last night and in the fashion that they did?
In the fashion that they did, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, relieved, excited. I did place a bet in the morning, 6-1 odds for them to win Sixers and 7. So I wasn't shocked that they won. I thought that they have the ability to win. They've been in all of these games. They haven't got blown out. But was it likely? No. And especially in the fashion of that ending with Tyrese Maxey, putting this team on his back, which we've been waiting for. We needed him to do this. We need a ball handler to be handling the ball down the stretch and taking over. As much as I love Embiid, and I know he will get into the criticisms of last night because that was pretty bad there towards the end, though he did recover defensively. You need a ball handler to do these things. And I feel like in game 5, game 4, Maxey was not doing that. He was coming down the court and just looking for Embiid. And finally he said, you know what? I'm taking over. I'm going to do this. Most points, since Allen Iverson is 44 in 2001. He beat that. And then the tied Wilt Chamberlain for most points as a Sixer in an elimination game. Wilt lost that game to the Celtics. Maxey won. He also tied Michael Jordan for most points in a playoff game, opposing points in a playoff game at Madison Square Garden. Shout out to Jim DeCave if he's listening for that stat. But I'm just blown away. It was so remarkable. My daughter was laying there on the couch. I let her stay up for these games. She's 9 years old. She's engaged, asking questions. She's into it. And my wife was like, oh, they lost again. She kind of messes with her sometimes. And my daughter got really, really upset. And I'm like, oh, listen.
Sounds like somebody I know.
I'm like, oh, listen, it's very unlikely. But if we can come down here and hit a 3, we got a shot. If he doesn't hit a 3, then we're done. And he hits a 3 and 1, hits the 4. Josh Hart and Brunson both missed key free throws down the stretch. And then that huge 3 to send it in the overtime was amazing. Then they go down 5 in overtime, and Maxey puts them on their back again. It was just an amazing game. And Tyrese Maxey, it just shows that with a lot of people think and believe that, Embiid is the MVP of the league last year, and in the regular season, that all works. But when it's in the playoffs, you need a guy that can handle the ball, bring it down, and create his own shot. And Maxey did that last night, and hopefully he can continue doing that.
Yeah, Marshawn, it's a printed newspaper in 2024, and a free one at that. You don't have to pay $9 for 5 articles and 27 ads. So that's the beauty of it, too.
I will say that paper was all over Jalen Hurts before Jalen Hurts was Jalen Hurts. They described everything about Hurts and what he would become. Brian Baldinger was the one that wrote the article. So, yeah, I know, but it's free. And sometimes, man, you don't want to get away from the damn phone. Let's just get away from that. Actually have the paper, chill, relax, no distractions around you, read a nice article,
Article. It's facts. It's what people see. But Big L back on board. Are you saying back on board with the Sixers? Back on board with I'm surprised that they won last night. Now nobody's more surprised. I kind of had this, a loss. I thought maybe it was going to be a close game, but I didn't think they were going to win it, to be honest with you. And it didn't look good at the end of the fourth. It looked like a lot of the same stuff. And I have to admit, Joel Embiid's body language wasn't really pretty for me, especially in the beginning of the game. If my wife was sitting next to me last night, and I looked up at the screen and I said, no, his body language looks like he's just going through the motions right now. Now I know he was suffering from a migraine at that point. He's got the Bell's palsy. I mean, the whole Joel Embiid injury prone situation, it really has come full force in this playoff round.
And I think it's something that we've all hoped would go away, or, he'd eventually recover from it. But I really think it's just something at this point in the game that we're going to have to accept. And we just know that he's not – there may be a chance he's 100% in the playoffs, but we can't live and die on Joel Embiid. He cannot be the main guy. He'll be the main – he could be a 1B, a B, a B++, but or maybe he's A for majority of the whole season, but then you have to have an alpha. You have to have what Maxey did last night. You have to even have like a Brunson, what Brunson does. He failed last night, but there's games he puts a team on his back. Jimmy Butler, those type of guys that are going to handle the ball and take over in crunch time. And maybe that's finding Embiid. Maybe that's finding him open. But until we have someone else, they're just going to continue to key on him. But I agree with you, Al. The body language was awful. It was the same old story, and Maxey kind of saved his butt in that respect. As much as he's being a warrior playing through all this pain, and people want to just deny that. Like people like this guy is playing on one leg, Bell's palsy. What that takes a lot, and everyone's like, oh well, then you better play good. Then you better be great. He's the best option they have the way he is right now. And I'm going to take these stats from Mr. Crockpot. At Mr. Crockpot, follow him. He's all over Edge of Philly Sports. Chris Dives. In Game 5, he was a plus 14 on the floor. When he comes off the floor, they're like a negative. Like I think, what was it? The end of the second quarter or the end of the first quarter, he came off the floor and they went on an 18-2 run. 18-2 run. So, as bad as Embiid was last night, he had a triple-double. He is playing okay. He's playing good enough. He's playing at a higher level than most centers. It's just we're expecting 40 points and the Embiid you saw, and it's just not. He's just not that. You need another guy like Maxey.
Yeah, and I know a lot of the conversation has been, is Paul George coming and a lot of older bring Jimmy Butler back and all this stuff, but is the answer an aged professional, or is it finding more Tyrese Maxey-esque type players, good role players, and by the way, a good backup center, not a center that when Joel Embiid comes out, everything starts to fall apart, but like a good, competent backup center? Or do you think getting an aged superstar is the best thing?
Well, to the backup center thing, I think that's somewhat overblown sometimes. But so you don't need like a all-star, like a great backup center. You just need one that can play some defense, really, because that's the big thing with Joel. Even in the fourth quarter and in that overtime, he had a huge block, it was a missed shot by Josh Hart, but he had his hands up. It was great defense that alters the shots, and he dictates what the other team is going to do in the lane. So if you can get a backup that can at least be adequate as a shot blocker, that would be good. Maybe he can run the rim a little bit. Everyone's been asking for that for years. A lot of people say Andre Drummond. He's another guy that on the floor, he will get pick and rolled off the floor in the playoffs. So, but as far as like the aged, I don't know if it has to be an aged one. Is it Paul George? I think he would be a good fit, and he has no problem being an alpha. Someone will come available this offseason, and the Sixers are in the prime position to make a move. They have the 16th pick in the draft. Believe it or not, they could go win the NBA title. They would still have the 16th pick in the draft. And they have the most cap space of any team in the league with the cap going up. So, they're in a good position. People criticize Daryl Morey for not making a move at this deadline. A significant one. He did go get Buddy Hield. It's not working out clearly, but Buddy Hield was a big trade then. Like everyone wanted him. Everyone was on board. Everyone was about it. Now we can't be like, oh, well, now we're not. And he's probably going to recover. He'll be a good 3-point shooter. He's going through a bad stretch. I mean, we see this with 3-point shooters. But
do they sign him, you think?
I don't know. That's tough because I don't know what the contract could be. I would go Kelly Oubre before him because Kelly Oubre is giving me stuff like last night in crunch time. That bad pass by Batum, he found a way to get that bucket in, and he's fearless. So where Buddy Hield the moment seems a little too big for him right now. But I think the move is just someone will come available, and they'll be the team that you'll be able to go get. It might be LeBron James. I don't necessarily know if I want that to be, but I mean, if you hate LeBron for like you can hate him for his other stuff, but you can't deny him on the court.
Oh no,
and whoever. But like he's playing. How old is he? And he's still playing at a significantly high level. So
no, my problem with him is we saw with the having Batman 1 and Batman 2 instead of a Robin or something to Joel Embiid and James Harden. I mean, it would be even worse with the personality clashing, I think, in that situation. And
it could be, but I'm just saying, whoever it is, it'll be someone. But that's my move. But back to last night, Joel Embiid. Nick. Shout out to Nick Nurse for benching him again. Like Brett Brown wouldn't have done that. Doc Rivers wouldn't have done that. We already seen them. They just watch them implode. Nick Nurse is like, whoa, I seen this before. Actually, I'm a guy that actually forced this on him before. I know what's going to happen next. I've done this with the Raptors. I know what's going to happen. Sit down, big fella. Get your head together. And then he came back in. He did have one more turnover, but he had a foul and one. That was huge. And defensively, he played good there down the stretch. So shout out to Nick Nurse. Nick Batum, unbelievable defensive play. He had the block at the end of the half or end of the overtime on Brunson. And then he comes and forces the turnover on Brunson. Brunson goes up for the three, and then he tries throwing it. Hartenstein was already down the lane, out of bounds. Huge by him. They were just tremendous right there. And then one other guy I can't forget, Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris had a good game last night. 7 of 11. Oh, cool. You got the stats up here. 7 of 11, 19 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, and very clutch free throws down the stretch. Like, I was like cringing that he was going to miss one or two or both. He nailed them both. So as much as he's not been the $40 million player, we really just need him to be like role guy at least. He's averaging 8 points a year. Yeah,
that's my problem with him. This is my thing. Is like, this is what's going to happen in this game. Is he going to even be on? Will you even see him on the court? Can he do it again? I need to see back-to-back nights like that from him. Not to have to be the clutch points at the most time, but just be a consistent role player and be the thorn in somebody's side on the court. Like it doesn't, like I said, he doesn't have to be the main guy. He doesn't have to be Batman or Robin, but just be a person who's going to put up some defense and the threat of scoring at times. Like he to me, he's like it's like a magic show with him. Here he is, and then there he isn't. Like, and that's his MO. Like here, I do really good here, and then I can take the next couple nights off. Well, we need 2 more good games from these guys if they want to live on and go to round 2 again.
No doubt about it.
And can he do it? That will be the ultimate goal.
I mean, we just need that. I don't even need 19. Can I just get 15? Can I get just don't miss open layups?
That's a good number. I just see like a guy who's going to defend players, who's going to put in layups. Because here's my thing is like they're not even worrying about like the Knicks are playing a very physical game, and for all the ref complaints and all the stuff that we've heard, I mean, they're letting a lot of things go on both sides of the court in some ways. Some of the stuff is just blatantly stupid, but ultimately, like, they're letting things go, and it's just we're being out physical. But that's what happened to most of these games, even partial this last game. Luckily, the Knicks were having a hard time making some shots at opportune times in the beginning of the game and as well as at the end of the game that helped out the Sixers big time. But they just have to be physical at this point. Like, you're just play like there is no tomorrow, because really there isn't one for you unless you win. So you have to win. There's no other option. There is no tomorrow, no matter what. So they need to play physical with them, and they got to get out of their own heads and stop worrying about the outside noises and outside. And I understand, like, it's hard not to worry about if your knee's not feeling 100% under your leg, like to Joel is, but there's a lot of things they need to stop worrying about and just try to out physical, because that's what they're doing. They're just playing more solid basketball and being more physical and rattling the cages of the Sixers. That's what. And I kind of called that. I said what I was afraid of if they were rushing Embiid back a little too early from his injury. That was my fear, that they would do that because they made the playoffs. They're going to rush him back. And I said, as long as they're not putting him in any overt danger, then fine, let him play. But if that was the issue, that's what I was worried about. And I said, if I'm an NBA team playing against the Sixers at any point in the round, I am just being over physical, and I'm pushing as much as I can against Joel Embiid to get him off his game. And that's what the Knicks have done. But luckily, Maxey decided to stand to say, listen, all right, I got to stop like being the guy that's going to be there to help you. I'm not the helper anymore. I'm going to swoop in and I'm going to take over. And that's what happened last night. And if that can happen again, there could be a little bit of a stretch run here. We'll find out. But one thing, if you want to get those tickets, and we're going to talk about that in a second, you can go to sherrystickets.com. That's right, sherrystickets.com, family owned and operated since 1946. sherrystickets.com, sports, concerts, theaters, Sixers playoff tickets. Get those Knicks fans out of there. Go to sherrystickets.com. No hidden fees. The price you see on the screen is the price you're going to pay, and you save 10% off by using that great promo code EOP10. That's right. EOP10 will save you 10% off at sherrystickets.com. Again, sherrystickets.com. Use EOP10 frequently and often. And real quick, you know what? Sometimes things happen, guys. Get hurt at work, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury, criminal law. Call David R. Cherry at 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. David R. Cherry will fight for your rights for you get like life-altering moments, work injuries, personal injuries, criminal law, motor vehicle accidents. He's the man with the plan. 610-565-0300 or simply go to cherryinjurylaw.com. And like I was saying, we're talking about tickets. The news kind of broke a little earlier today that Josh Harris, David Blitzer, and what's his? Who's the guy who owns
Michael Rubin?
Michael Rubin, yeah, that's it. Couldn't remember his name. They bought 2,000 tickets for Game 6 to give them out to first responders and healthcare professionals and all that stuff, and Philadelphia-based organizations, which is cool. I love it. And Joe put this post up earlier, and I think it was a really good one because why wouldn't you? I really think the Sixers organization let people down by they made the prices so high for Philly, but not too high for New York. It made it real easy for New York to come down and just be louder, and it was noticeable. Like that's pretty sad that a Philadelphia-based team in a playoff is being like we saw like the Rangers take over against the Flyers last season. And it was a sea of blue in the Wells Fargo, and people weren't happy about it. But this is a playoff game against the Sixers and New York, and they were being out volumed, if you want to call it that.
My buddy who I used to have season tickets with down there, he was just appalled. He couldn't believe it. And you saw they took over the stadium. I've never seen it in 39 years of my fandom as a playoff game. I've seen Mets fans come down when the Phillies stink. I've seen, like you said, Rangers fans come down when the I've taken over the Mets stadium. I've been up there. I've been in the Madison Square Garden when the Eagles and Sixers were playing, when the Knicks stunk. Eagles chants going galore. As the Sixers, so it's happened in the regular season both ways, but a playoff game, that was just unacceptable. And to the extent that they were just, it looked like they took literally like a mob scene that they took over and then just started stomping on everything. It was embarrassing, but I do blame the Sixers organization for the premium. It used to be you could buy the tickets for $50 a game. I remember you get them face value $50 a game. You might sell your one game for $150 each, and then you would try to make some of your money back and then go to the other one. But now they're like $100 a game, 125. You got to sell them for $200 to get your money back, and then you got to eat all this money. So it just so happened that a lot of fans chose Game 4 to sell that significant amount. They're going to be there. I mean, it's going to happen, but just it was like 60-40. It felt like, and it was so noticeable. So
well, Al Thompson was down there that night. He called in from during the draft night because they played at the same time. And he's like, it's deafening, and it's all Knicks fans, and you even heard it on the TV broadcast. If you're listening from there, like you couldn't tell the difference. Like you couldn't close your eyes and tell by the crowd who did good, who did bad. And half the time when the crowd was louder, it was the Knicks, and that, like I said, unacceptable for one of the biggest. I know New York's a big fan base too, but and they're very close, in proximity. But it's unacceptable and something I hope we never see again. But Fred, before we move on in the conversation, again, I know you're a big fan, but honestly, how do you feel about tomorrow night's game, which being at 9:00, which is pretty crazy?
9 p.m. Definitely up there price wise or time wise. But that actually gives the Sixers, a little bit more time to rest. But I'm trying to bring up this stat here that I had earlier. I forget where it went. Anyhow, I can't find it. But, if you go game by game, the Sixers, yeah, there we go. They have a 20.7 net rating through 5 games against the Knicks, and they're down 3-2. That's like the third highest among starting lineups in the entire NBA. So, like, they can win. I just don't think we live by the 3 and die by the 3. We won these last few games because the 3 started to fall. They were our wins. I don't think that's sustainable. I think we have to recognize that Joel Embiid cannot start in the half court at the foul line or anywhere near there for the majority of the game. They have to allow Maxey and the other players some space there. I feel like that's becoming a clogged problem. The problem is, and this is why I want a ball handler in the offseason, we don't have ball handlers. So these Knicks defenders are pressing up defensively, stopping us right at the 28-foot line, and we're looking for a pick, and then Embiid's coming over, or whoever, Batum, whoever it is. It doesn't look good. They're going to have to find a new way to generate some offense. But, the starting 5 versus starting 5, we do hold our own against them. It's just we're beaten down by the fourth quarter. I think we got a huge lift there from Maxey. And if we can get a 35, we just need him in control of the game. Outside of like regular season Embiid appearing, it ain't happening. I think it can happen, though. I think you got a Kelly Oubre game that you're still due of. You got a little bit of your Tobias Harris there. I think you may have an opportunity to try Buddy Hield again. I would like
you give Buddy Hield does it look like they're even thinking about it? Like it's almost like the Taiwan Walker in the playoff run with the Phillies last year. Like they wouldn't play him no matter what, even though they had a bullpen game and he didn't get a chance to start.
I think you put him in for 4 minutes and you say, dude, let it rip. And if he goes over 4, sit down. If he hits 3 or 4, it's like, oh, he's back. So I would definitely entertain something like that with him. And like Ricky Council, I know he's young and I know he just made the right, but I feel like he's the perfect guy to bring this toughness back. And he can foul out, man. We don't care. Like, go in there and bring some toughness back in there. Small ball lineup, we're gonna have to probably run. I have Paul Reed is Paul. Like I liked him, and he's the movement is too big for him. He is reverting back to his old ways of fouling. He had cleaned that up, earned the contract. I just feel like maybe a small ball lineup might work a little bit. It's not like the Knicks are huge, but we'll see, man. Our defense was much better too. So if Maxey can be Maxey, tell Joel, hey, relax. Let Maxey ride. We need you to play defense. I think they can do it. The odds are now 3-1. A day ago, it was 6-1. Now it's 3-1. They win tomorrow night. Anything can happen in Game 7. So,
absolutely. And before we move on, Pat's asking, are they really Knicks fans, or are they supporting from Villanova fans?
Nah, they're Knicks fans.
They're Knicks fans. There's a lot of New York.
They're orange and blue. They're no doubt about it. I mean, I'm a Nova fan, but like this, like I'm not rooting for these guys. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I'm still mad at Nova Twitter. I still haven't let that one go yet. I've been told I'm being petty about it, but I'm being petty. I'm
kind of petty too. I'm debating rooting for him anymore. I'm kind of, but I digress. We digressed. Phillies.
The theme of tonight's show has been youth and the youth of the Philly sports and the future of Philly sports. And we, of course, talking about Tyrese Maxey, who most likely, oh gosh, he will most likely.
Jesus, Pat.
He's good for it. Oh no.
Good one-liners here and there.
Tyrese Maxey most likely get that max contract. But another young guy who's coming up big, who, effing loves this place now and showing his love. Alec Bohm has been just on fire. He was the, I believe just recently, he was the NL, I guess maybe I didn't have it. The NL Star of the Week, National League Star of the Week. And he has been a big reason the Phillies are off to a bit of a historic start. They're 21-11 right now, Pat, and I think they lost half of those games that they lost in the first 2 series. And since then, they've been on quite a tear. People still are, banging on certain people for not being, the Kyle Schwarber conversation. Nick Castellanos has been slumping at times. What else? Johan Rojas really has kind of come out of his shell. I've been on Team Johan. Me and Joe have been jesting back and forth with each other, but Johan with a big win, a big 2-run home run last night to win it all, to win when they were down. Somebody made it was a funny post I saw today. Like, they lost the first game when they were walked like 9 times. A balk was used to score a run. They still lost that game, but they won today's game, and they had like 18 strikeouts in this whole game. It was like something crazy because, like Joel Embiid, even when his game's not great, he's still super effective. Zach Wheeler went 5 innings today, only let up 1 run, but if you ask Zach Wheeler if he had a good game today, he'd probably tell you no. You know what I mean? And that's a competitor right there.
Weren't we like complaining a month ago about like slow starts or something? Mm-hmm. I mean, this is great. You know what I mean? This is
though. That's my thing with this. Like, yeah, all right, you want to look at the first 10 games? Yeah, slow start, right? I'll agree with you. Slow start. But now we're through the first month. We're 31 games in, or 32 games in. You're 21 and 11. Like, this is the best start, and they have the most wins in baseball. We don't have the best winning percentage because we played a couple more games in the Braves, I think it was. But, it's like they're on pace for a big season, and they're just playing really good baseball, and you're getting production. Like, certain guys we got production from last year, like Bryson Stott has kind of been very quiet lately. But like I said, Alec Bohm's been big. Bryce Harper kind of up and down. Kyle Schwarber had a good day today, and he actually played the field for the first time in the season. So, it's getting production up and down, but the starting pitching has been the big story here.
Yeah, huge. And Ranger Suarez, I think I tweeted a week and a half ago. I tweeted Alec Bohm's an all-star. Ranger Suarez will win the Cy Young. And then I think, what's this today? Yeah, today or yesterday, the odds went from 2,500 plus 2,500, 25 to 1 to 14 to 1. He's just been outstanding. I think he's going to win the Cy Young. It's going to be awesome. Our number 3 will win the Cy Young.
That'd be amazing.
And we're going to have to pay him too, though. And then, then you have a conundrum for your 4, 5, 6, because that's been so good. I know Taiwan Walker just came back. Most people don't want him back. They won that game on Sunday, correct? Right, with him starting. So, they're finding a spot for Turnbull, but we have too much pitching for once. You know what I mean? So
too much starting pitching
too much starting pitching.
The bullpen does have a little desire.
The bullpen has had some issues, but it's really one guy, isn't it, for the most part?
Well,
Dominguez.
Sir Anthony has been kind of like they did a couple years back with Alvarado. They need to send him down. I tweeted that out right after the last game that he let up the time when they lost to the Angels the other night. I said, send him down. Like, it's something between his head. He needs to go down, work on some mechanics, work on some confidence, maybe add something to the repertoire to show a little something different. Because whatever it is, he don't have it. He is like a scared mouse when he goes out to the mound. And every time he goes out there, I got to change my brown pants. Like, that's what it's like when I see him out there. And, we have some guys who are really good, but there's the rest of them kind of get to the questionable. Like, Strom is usually pretty spot on, but there is moments he gets a little hairy, but any bullpen player does. But Jeff Hoffman has been really good lately, but he went 3 of the last 4 games, so he couldn't go out, and they had to put Soto out on the mound today, and it was a gulp situation at the end. I mean, like I said, there wasn't a lot of offense today. It was a 2-1 victory for the Phillies, and it came down to he got 2 outs, then he got 2 guys on base, guys on the corners. Or it was 1 out, guys on the corners, and then 2 outs, and then it was a long fly ball to that really short left field fence that Kyle Schwarber's back was up against the fence. That was the difference between a walk-off home run and the Phillies winning. So, luckily it's the hapless Angels. If that was probably a better team, it might have came out differently. But you take your W's where you get them.
So Trey Turner ended up playing today. He was going to sit him.
He DH'd today.
Oh, okay. He's getting him off the field. All right, 4 at-bats. Yeah, I missed the game today, but I knew the lineup was getting Sosa in the field. You got Pache out there, Schwarber back to left. So it's good to be able to rest some guys, play some of the other guys too, and still get the
Marsh
W.
pitched here towards the end. I would have hoped they would have put Johan Rojas or in center and moved Marsh to left for like the last inning, but Kyle did his job, thank God. I mean, I understand you want to give a guy a rest, but playing one inning of baseball really, to me would have been a stretch of the imagination.
Strom and Kirkering did well, it looks like.
Yeah, I'm keeping my eye on Kirkering. I think he's another young guy that's, I don't know if he's going to say he's going to be a phenom or, maybe a closer or anything, but I think he could be. He very much could be. But I think he's going to be he could be at least, Ryan Madsen-esque, a guy who's consistent and he goes out there and you feel confident when he takes the mound. Like that's the kind of like look or feel I want from him.
If Matt Blong, one of our listeners, is listening, he's going to be pissed. He hates Ryan Madsen, and I can't understand for the life of me how he hates him.
Did Ryan Madsen steal his girlfriend or something at one point back in the day?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
No, we'll find it. But I mean, listen, you have to be excited about the Phillies. They did exactly what they want to do. They got off to a good start. Not everybody got off to the same exact start they were hoping, but they got off to a historical start. This is the best start they've had in like 100 years. It's like something.
There was another team that had a better start through 32 games, and that was those 1993 Philadelphia Phillies who had 24 wins through 32 games. But outside of them, I think it's they were tied with the 1917 team.
Yeah,
were 21 wins. But there's a few others. 1911 had 22. 1913 had 22. 2011 had 22. No, I'm just had it up. It's good company to be in, but I wonder what those teams. The 1979 team definitely made a run, and then finally got over the hump. 1980, 2011. That's what I'm always scared of. 2011.
Don't
and you know what I mean. You have this great, and then you just lose.
Such a good season, such a huge letdown. Yeah.
Even at 95, they had 23 wins through 32 games, and we know that ended up stinking. But 2008 only had 18. 1980 only had 17. So we'll see, man. That's where I want to bring back temper. We went in the beginning, we're losing our minds because they're losing games. Now, it can't be World Series guarantee right now either. We have to let it play out. There's going to be a lull. There's going to be a downtime. Hopefully, no injuries, especially to the pitching.
Yeah.
And then
as we've seen throughout baseball already so early on in the season. I mean, and the key thing is how I look at it is they usually get okay Aprils, but the May is where the drop off comes for the Phillies. I mean, that's why I thought they were going to lose today because it's May 1st and there's too close to call, and I could have seen them getting a loss today. May is where the drop off is, but being up 10 games going into May. It is a big plus because I think we only get a couple games over 500 as of last year or the year before that. And like I said, if they have kind of a 50-50 May, a 500 May, you're still 10, 11 games going to June, and that same June magic occurs again. The competition for the division is still there. The old saying is you can't win the division in April, but you can sure as hell lose it. Ask the Marlins. I mean, and this is a tight division right now. I mean, even the Nationals are winning some games. They're not that close, but
ask the Phillies.
Huh?
Ask the Phillies.
Yeah.
We haven't won a division. We've been so behind the Braves. You got to keep up with these guys. You got to win now to keep up with them.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, talking about all these Phillies and trying to get some great games, and go to phillysportstrips.com. You want to get away just for the day, go to Baltimore with some other Phillies fans with great food, drinks. Watch the Phillies take on the Orioles. June 15th is your opportunity. Great price, by the way. You can't beat it. Take the family with you for the cost that would be. It is unbeatable prices. Go to phillysportstrips.com. Hell, head out to Boston. Go to Fenway Park, head Chicago at Wrigley Field. Even go to PNC Park and play to take on the Pirates. Even though Pittsburgh sucks, but not the team, but the city in my eyes suck. But the field at PNC Park, it's pretty amazing. So check it out. And talking about Phillies baseball, Fighting Final is back at the Streetlight Kitchen and Bar on May 11th at 5400 Fern Boulevard in Drexel Hill, PA, in the 19026, the Holiday Inn Suites at the Drexel Brook Event Center. That's right, May 11th. That's the next Saturday, not the Saturday coming up, but the following Saturday. Saturday before Mother's Day. There is also a Mother's Day brunch leading into it, so you can bring mom out for the brunch, bring the wife out, the kids, whatever. Be there, hang out with us, talk pre-game fighting Philadelphia Phillies, and then hang out, watch the game with us. There's gonna be a special menu. We're gonna have all this stuff dropping for you, and then get a chance to win some great tickets for June. You can win some Marlins Phillies tickets. All you have to do is be there to get a ticket, and if you get there, there'll be other opportunities for you to get more tickets to give you higher chances of winning. So come on out, have some great food, have a great time, come hang out with us. And if this weather's great, we're gonna be out on the porch for it. A beautiful porch, big screen TV, great bar out there. The place is beautiful. Come on out to 5400 Fern Boulevard in Drexel Hill, the Streetlight Kitchen and Bar in the Holiday Inn and Suites at the Drexel Brook Event Center. Come on out, say hi to us, the rest of us here at EoP. And another quick announcement. There's a lot of announcements. I didn't even notice how
Hold
many.
on, let me piggyback off that real quick. Plenty of parking there as well.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And just to clarify what you said, you show up to get a raffle ticket to win a ticket. You don't just show up and get a Phillies ticket.
Yeah, no, I'm not giving out 500 tickets. No.
Yeah, I want to make sure I clarified.
And the more you come, and when you get there, we'll give you more opportunities to get more raffle tickets and get you a higher chance of winning those great seats that I stole from Joe. He's really pissed off about. That's why he's not here tonight. Because I took his tickets to give away, and he's not super happy about it. So it's all right. It's all right. He'll forgive me. The other thing is officially announcing here on EoP. Delco Day 9 is coming, and EoP is an official sponsor. And here's all the other sponsors of Delco Day 9 for any of those who are from the Delaware County area. Delco Day is always June 10th, celebrating the 610, but this year is being celebrated on June 1st. Starting from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. an all-day 12-hour party with bands and everything else you can imagine. Great food, great drinks, a special menu coming up featuring many Scrapple flavored or many Scrapple included menu options, because the main sponsor of this year is Haberset Scrapple, Delco's own Haberset Scrapple. So check it out. These other great sponsors here as well. And of course, Edge of Philly Sports being one of those great sponsors. And Edge of Philly Sports will also have a tent there. So come by and meet some of the EoP crew and come hang out and have a good old party at JT Brewski's in Seacane, PA. So come check it out.
And just quickly, and they personally have impacted my life. They raise money for people battling leukemia and different types of cancer. And, my son is battling. We're actually a week out from his chemo ending, but he's in remission. But that particular day, Delco Day, raised a ton of money for me and my family, and it really helped us get through a tough time financially, mentally, all the nine. So you go, you pay your $30, $50, whatever it is, and then you're spending, drinking beers, having a good time, loving it, Delco this, Delco that, which I'm all about. But you really impact someone's life after that, like tremendously, just like they did. So shout out to Delco Day and the Headstrong Foundation and all the sponsors. And I'm glad EoP's in on it too now this year.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's awesome, and it's glad to be part of it. But guys, come on out. It's an all-day party. Now, that's the beauty of it. If you have something to do in the beginning of the day, you can come out later. You have something to do later today, you can come out in the beginning. There's bands all day long, two stages going. And like I said, with Haberset being the main sponsor, there is, and actually I have to share this because it's actually pretty amazing. I want to show you something. The menu was dropped the other night, and so typical stuff here, but also they have walking tacos with Scrapple as well as this, chicken and beef. They have Scrapple fry, Scrapple sliders, which is on a Delco's own Bernie's pretzel made bun with a pub sauce. So, and they'll have a Scrapple egg and cheese. And for all you Delco fans, also Imperial Pizza will be selling them by the slice that night there as well. So it's a great Delco day. And if you're not from Delco, you can still come out Philly. It doesn't matter. It's a great party for a great cause. Headstrong Foundation is amazing. So yeah, check it out. So Fred, we haven't had a chance to talk on air since a certain NFL draft went down. And by the way, I got to point this out. Great work with Dives, Shane Half, Mark Henry Jr., Dave, Ryan, just many hours put in between Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Yourself, Joe, tweeting, posting, articles. Just everybody here at EoP did an amazing job. Other guys holding down the Fightins final while that's going on. Sixers post-game shows. So many things going on at one time, and everybody, it moved very smoothly like a well-oiled machine here at EoP. So just great draft coverage, bar none, some of the best you'll find anywhere else. I know I'm a little biased, but I think I'm not speaking too out of turn here.
Yeah, shout out to those guys and you for producing. You guys did all the hard work. I did some articles, some posts. Me and Joe Joe did majority of the posting, but I did the articles and some of the posting. And but you guys did all the hard work, had the live analysts react type of thing, and those guys are just amazing. I agree. I learned more from them than I would, on TV, really. So it's great. It's great to listen to, and great to have them on our network as well.
Yeah, big things coming with that into the future too. Like I said, stay tuned. There's a lot more announcements coming down the line. So let's start with the number one pick. The Phillies have been kind of attached to Mitchell this entire time. And we all thought he would there to maybe give up one of their second round picks or something to move up and get into an area. But the way everything played out with 6 quarterbacks taken, thank you Atlanta Falcons for really bolstering that, and a lot of offense all the way up until Quingon was taken. And at 22, the best CB was available. They didn't have to move up. He was there for the taking. Between him and Terrion Arnold, everybody was, looking to the two of them. Are you happy with this pick, and are you shocked how it played out, Fred?
Well, I just want to say, there was one guy. There was one guy, and through all the experts and all the people out there that, like 2 corners. Why would they draft 2 corners? We have a plethora of corners. We have this. We have that. Two corners. That's crazy. That's crazy. Of all the experts or all the people that tweeted at me on that, Joe or Al, I did they follow the blueprint of Joe Banner once again, like I predicted, or is this a dream right now?
Well, I mean, Howie's changing his routine. I really didn't think he would get away from, depending on what defensive, like with having defensive ends and defensive tackles that were there available. I'm very like that because like we were talking and like on air and people were saying like, oh well, who do you think they're going to take now that a lot of offensive players are being taken in the beginning? I'm like, I don't know if this makes their higher chance or lower chance that they would take a guy like Mitchell or Arnold or Cooper DeJean or something at that point. But Howie shocked the world in some ways. I mean, it shouldn't be shocking, but it is shocking because it's against his normal shtick, if you want to call it that, and took the best CB available. Now I've heard a lot of dumb comparisons, and I can see why they're thinking it, but I don't like it because they're saying, oh well, it's another Jalen Regular, and Justin Jefferson routine. Should have went to Terrion Arnold. He played for a bigger school. Quingon Mitchell played against some high caliber players. I know it's Toledo, but I'm not holding that against him.
He also turned down Bama and other high end schools to stay at Toledo. I think this guy's going to be a good corner. From all I've read, I mean, I don't break down film or anything, but from what I've read, the other podcasts I listen to, the people that do break down the film, PFF has high ratings on him. I think he's going to be a good, not great. You're not looking at a Patrick Surtain here. You got a guy that, plays cover 3, fits Vic Fangio's system tremendously, was the highest rated on the board at the time, the best possible pick they could have made. He has some issues playing press man. We'll see how that pans out in the NFL. I know a lot of time our corners aren't playing press man anyway, so he should fit in. There's been comparisons to Darius Slay, and if he is a new Darius Slay, who better to learn under than Darius Slay himself?
Yeah, he had high praise from him in his press conference the other day. So could be interesting to see how that plays out. So that's day 2. Day 1, bring you to day 2, round 2. They have the 50 and 53 pick. And that's when the trades galore started happening, Fred. I mean, let's just real quick. Here he goes. Round 1, number 22. They take Quinyon Mitchell. But then round 2, they move up. They traded up and they went to number 40 and took Mr. Cooper DeJean, another D-back, which they have him listed as a D-back, not a cornerback, which people kind of read into a little bit. And trades galore continue to happen for the second round because they still had some spot at 53 available, and they traded that to Washington as well, and traded it right back to the third round with 2 more trades. They went to the 78 spot, traded that back, went to 86, traded that back all the way to 94. We'll get to that pick in a moment. But Cooper DeJean, thoughts on that?
What a pain in the neck that was. I love all the trades, but it was like, you're like getting ready, you're trying to do your family stuff, and then you got all right, the Eagles are about to pick. You got your thing ready to make your graphic or article, and then it's like, oh, Howie, and you added 2 more. I got 2 more articles. But that Cooper DeJean, I mean, he trades up and gets what some people have as the top corner in the draft. Some people thought this was a locked-in first rounder. Pro Football Focus has him ranked as the 8th overall player in the whole draft. I mean, and he read the room too. 3 corners went right after that, so he jumped right up to the right spot to go get Cooper DeJean. Like you said, he's runs a 4.3 though. I don't know if he's definitely like going to be a safety, but I definitely think he's going to be moved around to slot, to the outside and safety. Vic Fangio loves that type of versatility in his defensive backs. And what a draft. What a pick by Howie. 2 back-to-back A-plus picks.
Yeah, and you said it yourself. The key word there is versatility. We know how the Eagles and Howie especially love versatile guys who can play different positions. So, yeah, I mean, A-plus pick. You couldn't be happier. People had the Eagles taking him at 22.
Yeah, quarterbacks had a 37.8 rating throwing against him. Now, I know it's the Big Ten, and there's – I'm not going to say there's J.J. McCarthy, but there's not like a plethora of amazing quarterbacks. But, that's a solid conference. So, ball hawk, he's been labeled. I mean, who doesn't want a ball hawk?
So that brings us to round 3. Like I said, in round 3, they went from 78, traded back to Houston, traded with San Fran at number 8 from 78 to 86 with Houston. From 86 to 94 with San Fran, and then on to that number 94 pick, which this one was a little bit more of a head scratcher for people because Jalix Hunt is a linebacker / edge rusher from Houston Christian University. First time anybody ever drafted from HCU. So people were a little, with some guys still on the board, were a little scratching their heads with this one. Fred, were you one of those head scratchers?
Yeah, I saw a tweet that, it's one of Vic Fangio's favorite players in the draft, but like any defensive player they draft is probably one of his players, I would imagine. I got major questions here. I know like when we draft people on draft day, like we like to see these green colored glasses, but after Davion Taylor, I'm like out on that. And I know they're not the same player, and I know it's totally different, but like he's a converted safety, Nate Jerry, remember him? You know what I mean? Moving him to linebacker, he's a converted safety. We just don't seem to have success with that. I think there's a new coaching staff, so maybe it'll work out better there. But I don't see it here. I don't see it. I feel like they could have got him possibly later. I know Daniel Jeremiah possibly had him ranked a little higher, and Howie was like worried about that. But, I don't. Not that he's a TV guy though, so you should be worried about the scouts. I'm a rooting for this kid. He's from Cornell, so that's the big thing. He went to Cornell, so he's very, very smart. So he's not going to be like he'll pick it up better. But like, come on, football IQ and Cornell are 2 different things. I have questions here. I give it a C. A C. I would give that because I just don't think this is. I don't think if it hits, great, but I still think they didn't have to draft him here. They could have waited.
Yeah, no, I agree. I still scratching my head a little bit on this one. I agree with the fact. I'm not saying they shouldn't have taken him, but I wonder, like you said, if they could have got him a couple rounds back. Kind of like how they sat on one of the draft picks we'll talk about shortly, that people thought maybe would have went in his position. Not saying they should have, but like of edge rushers available, I feel like there was, I don't want to say sure things, but more higher value picks than they did here. And they could have probably waited to a 4th, 5th, 6th round opportunity to get him. But he is an Eagle. So, like I said, he sounds like he's going to be a moldable guy. But take this for what it's worth. But Mel Kiper is saying Howie came away with my favorite outside linebacker in the entire class in Hunt. So, for a guy that really, to a school that nobody really knew about, to a guy that nobody really knew about, I know he wowed everybody at the Senior Bowl, and that's how he kind of made a lot of waves. But I get it's a wait and see thing. I like you said, I hope he pans out. I just it's hard to see the forest for the trees in this situation.
I actually people trash Mel Kiper a lot. He's on point often, and if you follow his actual mocks, which how he has, they are on point a lot. So I really respect what he has to say. But yeah, I don't see it. But I mean, who are you going to pick? What I don't see or Mel Kiper? I'd probably go with Mel Kiper. I definitely go with Mel Kiper. I might change my. It's an A. It's an A pick now.
Yeah. Yeah, right. So your next one is running back Will Shipley. So after they picked 94 overall in the third round, the fourth round, their next pick was 120. They traded to Miami. They had a 123 pick. They traded that to Houston to the 127 pick, and that is where they got Will Shipley, running back Clemson, who twitchy type runner. He's kind of that old school, like the term they use is workhorse, blue collar grit runner. Not a big name. I still think maybe some other running backs had bigger names, but again, they liked what they saw with him, and they people saw Clemson, got excited. It wasn't the Clemson player they were expecting at this moment. But Will Shipley, quick thoughts on him.
Speed. He's got a ton of speed. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can also return kicks. A great pick. Great pick by Howie.
Right. So your next one comes in. They had the number 132 overall. Moved that back after they traded with San Fran. They went to 152. And Anais Smith, wide receiver, Texas A&M. I like this one. It's not a bad pick for the position. He's shorter, but is one of those guys who play bigger. They like guys who can contest for balls. Not saying he's AJ Brown, but like guys like that who can jump up and battle for the ball in the air. I don't think this is a bad pick. I think for number 3 or number 4 wide receiver, getting in there and fighting it out with like Britton Covey and a couple other guys, I don't hate this pick at all.
He had some injuries too, so the injury concern is why we got him here. They said he wasn't really up to speed majority of the year, but some scouts say by the end of the season he was back. His legs were back. He would have been a first round pick potentially, or a second round pick, I think. So I love the pick here. Let's take a chance. 5th round. It can't get worse than our third receiver last year. So.
Well, that brings us to our next one. The name that everybody wanted to see back in a midnight green uniform, wearing that number you see on the screen, number 54. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. People thought he would probably went in the 3rd round, kept dropping back. Every time Howie traded back, people got nervous, like we're not going to get Trotter. I think a lot of people were high on him because of the name as much as the player. I think he could be a good player. I just expectations I think were being set high for him, and because of the name. But I like the pick. I think he's got the attributes. But can he hang? We'll find out.
Yeah, the question with him is size. There's some comparisons to Nakobe Dean. I don't know if he'll have the injury history, but the nostalgia alone, he's definitely got the work ethic and the heart. And the Clemson games I've watched, he seemed to be all over the field. So I love the pick, especially round 5 when some people thought he would go in the 2nd or 3rd.
Yeah, Brad saying Eagles made some awesome drafts in this picks in this draft. So the 5th round with 161 was available, but we trade that with Washington. 164 we had traded it to Indianapolis. Into the 5th round, traded to New York Jets. The 171 pick, that was a compensatory pick. And then the next compensatory pick was the 172. And this is I like this pick. I think they got this is a high value pick in my eyes. Trevor Keegan, guard, Michigan. I think from a depth piece, a guy who's going to be able to work with Stoutland. And you know me, part and partial to the lineman, but I think this is a high value pick for the Eagles.
Where they got him, no doubt about it. I did like the pick. He was a team captain on a national championship team. He fills a need at guard. He's got a huge size, like he's a monster. He's just got to work on his athleticism and dealing with NFL caliber players at that level. But hey, when you come to Stoutland, anything can happen. So I'm with you. Good pick.
The next one is the 185 overall pick. and that is Johnny Wilson, wide receiver, Florida State. Thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I don't like this pick. I just he's got a case of the dropsies. I don't see it. He's huge. People were when they drafted him. The announcer on ESPN said Harold Carmichael. Harold Carmichael was 2 feet taller than this guy. I'm out on the pick. I think he's cut. He won't even make it.
Ian saying Johnny Wilson was someone I had an eye on. Great and red zone and wide receiver 3 who can bail out Jalen. I guess we'll find out about that. Freddy obviously disagrees with that one. Where did the other ones go? I don't know. But the next one, I guess I didn't make it on the list here. Dylan McMahon, guard center from NC State with the 190 overall pick. And, you know, I don't know much about him, but obviously a depth piece to add a little depth there. But all in all, 8.
Hold on. One thing I want to bring up with him. There was a center that the Eagles drafted 191 overall in 2011 in the same exact spot. Do you know what his name was?
Jason Kelsey.
Correct. So the comparisons are there. This guy has all the athleticism, just like Kelsey. He has the 3rd highest athleticism score since 2003, number 3, and then Kelsey's right ahead of him at 2. So it goes Tanner Bordenelli, Jason Kelsey, Dylan McMahon.
So it'd be interesting to see what they do with him. I mean, I don't think they're trying to reinvent the same wheel, but it has the baking of the same cake. I always say. So after all that, eight draft picks made in this draft, on top of 3 more, a 3rd, a 4th, and a 5th added on for next year. Overall, really good ones, even to the point that Skip Bayless was showing Howie some love. And real quick, speaking of Jason Kelsey, he's going to be working with ESPN Monday Night Football pregame. We saw him kind of getting ready during the Super Bowl, like trying to test it out. Obviously, this is going to be a thing. Are you excited about this? How do you feel about this real quick? Because I know you got to go.
Nah, I'll see it when I see it. I'm not excited about it, but it'll be cool. It'll be cool to listen to him.
Yeah. Other than that, guys, I want to thank Freddy for joining me tonight. I want to thank our great sponsors. I want to thank PhillySportsTrips.com, SherryInjuryLaw.com, Sherry'sTickets.com. Everybody, just amazing. Streetlight Kitchen and Bar, which will be there on next Saturday. Dolan's Bar. Don't forget Dolan's Bar. Wiffle Ball Mania is back on May 25th with Mickey Morandini and John Kruk. Come on out to 24 East Sellers Avenue. EoP will be there. All that and more. Other than that, I'm Big Al.
I'm Freddie Burns.
We'll see you next time.